Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. If you have a problem with the direction this country is going in, rise up, stand up, take action. Otherwise, it's your fault.
Who are eligible for the check. So Joe Biden said in this meeting, we can't walk away from an additional $1,400 in direct checks that we.
You promised $2,000 immediately. Why are we even talking about $1,400? Why is it that it's almost like you are some kind of mole for the Republican Party? You promised $2,000, you ran on $2,000, then you should be fighting for $2,000, and Republicans fighting to bring it down to $1,400. But why is it that you're pretending like you didn't specifically say $2,000 checks? You liar, Joe Biden and establishment Democrats.
Proposed because the people need them. We can better target them, he said. But I'm not going to start my administration by breaking a promise to the American people.
You have already broken the promise by lowering the amount you promised. People voted based on $2,000 checks, which is what you claimed.
And there was some indication.
And the garbage mainstream media is not holding your feet to the fire like they would if Trump did the same thing. You lying, conniving, corrupt establishment mainstream media and independent media who I have not really seen aggressively pushing back on this. It's so disgusting that independent media is so selfish, just like these politicians, that they just focus on what gets them views and more money. They have the power to educate their audience and say, listen, guys, you voted for this $2,000 checks. Now they're trying to steal it from you. You shouldn't let them do this. But they're not pushing that, right? They're just going along with it. Corporate media going along with it. Independent media going along with it. Weak.
That Biden would fall in this direction after Jeff Stein from the Washington Post tweeted that some senior Democrats are looking at lowering the threshold on stimulus payments so they start phasing out above $50,000 for single payers, $75,000 for heads of households, and $100,000 for married couples. So this is an issue because means testing as it stood before these updates was a problem because it relies on tax filings from 2019. And if you guys can remember, there was no coronavirus pandemic in 2019. That's when everyone was working. That's when everyone was kind of living life as normal or usual. And then in 2020 is when tens of millions of Americans were laid off from their jobs and lost their livelihoods. So to do means testing at all is ridiculous. To do stricter means testing than what we experienced before with the previous relief packages is even worse. And the fact that Biden is even entertaining this is incredibly depressing and disgusting. Now, Biden has also called on Democrats to stick together as they push forward with his relief package, nearly $2 trillion. And he's made.
Let me solve this problem very easily, right? I love how these establishment Democrats and Republicans play their games and manufacture fake problems. Oh, we don't know what to do. It's difficult. We have to consider these things. It's not black and white. And I love how politically, this is the same thing with how we deal with the pandemic. On one side, it's aggressively open up, not really taking safety seriously or health seriously. Talking the talk, like, yeah, we got to do this safely, but your actual focus is just on opening up. And on the other side, it's, oh, we got to be safe. We got to lock down. Polar opposites. There's no nuance in this country. And this is yet another example of that. On one side, it's, oh, means testing. We don't, a lot of people are have a lot of cash right now who never lost their jobs. They're saving on commuting costs. We want to be fiscally responsible and target the stimulus. We didn't care about being responsible when it comes to tax cuts for the rich and the military, but forget about that. Right now, we need to be smart about money. That's one side. Other side, polar opposite. Oh, no, 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 means testing. No, 2019, everything is so complicated. But yet it's not. I'm not a genius. I'm no genius. But yet, look at how easily I can solve this issue. I don't have to choose left or right. Means testing? No means testing. That's it. Only two choices. Republican, Democrat. That's it. Only two choices. Conservative, liberal. That's it. Only two choices. No, nonsense. Here's how you solve it. Here's how you means test and no means test at the same time. You stop playing games about the $1,400 checks. You get back to what you promised, what you ran on, $2,000 checks. You have the Senate. You have the ability to make this happen. Make it happen, you clown Joe Biden and establishment swamp creature Democrats. $2,000 checks now. Send them out. No means testing. Honor system. That's the nuance. That's the critical thinking. Honor system. If you made more than 50,000, 60,000, 17,000 during the pandemic, no checks for you, right? You haven't filed the taxes yet, so we don't have the data. So we're going to trust you to be honest and simply, when you're filing whatever you need to file, just tell us what did you make during 2020? Simple. Solved. Now you say, I agree, you are no genius, but you're an idiot. People are going to lie. Oh, you can lie all you want. You can lie all you want. Oh, I didn't work at all in 2020. I only made $5,000 for the whole 2020. Send me my $2,000 checks. Problem is, eventually you do have to file for your taxes, right? We don't have the data now, but we will have it eventually. And guess what happens when you got a $2,000 stimulus check saying you only made $5,000 when you made $200,000, which shows when you finally file your taxes, you're going to have a huge tax bill and penalties assessed. And of course, that $2,000 check that you shouldn't have gotten, you owe that as well. Due immediately. The rest of the stuff, payment plans, whatever, plus penalty assessed. But a $2,000 check that you took when you know you made $200,000, due immediately. 30 days to 90 days if you want to be nice. With an excuse. If you can prove why, okay, I lied about this, I made $200,000, but I also put everything in GameStop, so I really don't have $2,000. Then you get the 30 to 90 day plan. How hard was that? Honor system now, $2,000 checks now. When you file for your taxes, if you lie, we gon' get you. Case closed. Done. It's not means testing or no means testing. It's not open up the country or lock it all down. Use your brains. Be creative. Stop us versus them. Think. How can we solve this problem? How can we do two things at one time? We got to be safe, but we need to revive the economy. What's the middle ground? How can we take safety seriously and at the same time be aggressive about restoring the economy? How can we get what we promised to the American people, $2,000 checks immediately, while at the same time not having people abuse this and wasting money, giving it to people so they can just throw it away on meme stocks? Give everyone the money now. You get them when they file for taxes. If we can do the tax cuts for the rich, just like that. If we can do the military budget, just like that. You've got the Senate, executive. You've got the House. As AOC apparently said, don't quote me on this, one of my subscribers said this. You've got the three branches of government, the Senate, the House, and the presidency. Joe Biden, I voted for you, but you're a clown. And I knew you were a clown. But what has happened since I voted for you, you clown? What has happened since I voted for you is that my decision has been validated. The threat of Donald Trump has been validated. My expectations of Joe Biden being a do-nothing Democrat, establishment Democrat, weak sauce Democrat, has been validated. So I've gotten pretty much what I voted for. A reversal back to lame-ass normalcy. The Obama era. Exactly what brought us Trump. But we have the opportunity to course correct to avoid history repeating itself. But Donald Trump getting another 4 years would have been a disaster. Why? Right now, even out of power, he controls the entire Republican Party. This is the United States of America. We are a democratic republic. We are not a dictatorship. We cannot have one man controlling an entire party. That is Hitler level of insanity. And I always got to qualify. The minute you say Hitler, people think about death and violence, as if that's the only thing Hitler did. Can we acknowledge that something else Hitler did was to become a dictator, crush all of the opposition, all of the checks and balances, to become the supreme leader? What do you think Donald Trump has become? Even as a civilian, he has an entire party that in secret does the right thing. In public, they vote Trump. They're afraid of Trump the civilian. Can you imagine the damage and danger of another 4 years if he has this amount of power as a civilian? Joe Biden is a clown, but an even bigger clown is we, the American people. Because everything that is wrong in our government are things that we allow our government to do. The limits of government power are the limits of the tolerance of us, the American people. When they go too far, we rise up and they pull back. Why do you think the Republican Party is as insane as they are now? Because of the voters. The voters have them by the leash. They're afraid of being voted out. What would happen if we made Joe Biden and the Democrats afraid of being voted out? And right now, they probably feel very powerful. They're watching the Republican Party falling apart. So they feel like they can just do whatever they want to do, and we're going to sit around and complain. Meanwhile, we are the biggest problem, because everything that the government does wrong, we are the ones who give them the blank check that allows them to feel comfortable enough to do that. Again, when we rise up, they stop. They do these things and they see us do nothing and they say, oh, okay, I guess this is fine. And they do more and more and more to satisfy their donors and themselves and their greed and corruption. And as long as we sit by doing nothing, they will continue. They would go around and shoot. I don't want to say this, YouTube is crazy. They would go around to everybody's home and steal your bread, take all your computers, whatever crazy thing. They would do it if they felt that they needed to, or they would benefit from it somehow. They would do whatever crazy thing you're thinking of. The only thing stopping them from doing some really, really crazy things is if they go too far, we will rise up and put a stop to it. Flood their phones with calls, voicemails, flood their boxes with letters. We will take to the streets. We will vote with our money. We will pressure the corporations to stop donating to these swamp creatures. And when we start taking action, they have no choice but to do exactly what the Republican Party is doing. You think the Democrats have more spine than the Republicans? If the Democrats were afraid of being voted out, you would see them snap to attention just like the Republicans. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. If you have a problem with the direction this country is going in, rise up, stand up, take action. Otherwise, it's your fault. Because power comes from the people. This is a democratic republic. And if you don't believe it, again, look at the Republican Party right now. Look at the insanity that's happening, all because of the voters. Stop sitting around complaining and pointing fingers and listening to these clown YouTubers who only care about their own pockets, pushing their propaganda and, oh, look at this and not telling you the truth about what you need to do to change things. Don't you see what's happening right now? Look at how the donors stepped up and pulled their monies away from the Republican Party. How did that happen? because we, the people, pressured the corporations. We said, step up or we won't give you our money. How do you think the elites get their money? How do you think these corporations get their money? From us. We're the customers. If we vote with our money, the elites who have a lot of power over government, we can control them and therefore control our government. Imagine if the Democratic Party lost their donors because we, the people, put pressure on those corporations and we said, listen, we voted for $2,000 checks immediately. Joe Biden is clowning around. Anybody that's supporting Joe Biden, we're not going to support you. Look at how fast the money evaporates and how fast all of a sudden Joe Biden finds some, okay, we've been thinking about it and we found a way. We, the people, need to rise up and do our jobs. Stop acting like you want to live in a dictatorship. Dictatorship is automatic. Government just does whatever. You have no say in the matter. A lot of Americans seem to like that. Democratic Republic is self-service. We vote for people, and then we have to hold them accountable. If you disconnect yourself from the political process, then you push our government towards dictatorship because they're essentially doing whatever they want to do. Meanwhile, we just complain on social media. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate Me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. It's time we start taking accountability. We look at our government and we say, there's no accountability there. Why do you think that is? Because we don't hold them accountable. Do your jobs, American people, so our government can start doing their job and this country can start moving forward. Stop whining and complaining and take action. You're seeing right now in real time the power that you hold. What the Republican voters are doing, you can do that to the Democratic Party. Only you can push them not to conspiracy theories and all this nonsense. You can push them to actually serving the American people and doing the right thing. How much more evidence do you need of the tremendous power that you hold in the United States of America? Wow.